I used to be the one they all love to hate on, but now I work hard and I never take a day off. Y'all consider me as nothing but a target till I'm locked and loaded ready. If these motherfuckers want it, they said hip-hop's dead. I disagree with that statement, so don't repeat that shit again. And think of me when you say it, cause I'm the reason that it's free.
Alright, here we are on Archon's Corner. What do we got going on this week? Well, first of all, there's me, Big Z. Wookie's out still, who knows where, don't know. We've got JR, we've got Dan. Guys, say hi.
Yeah, hi.
Yep, there they are. That's my exciting team today. Alright, our schedule master, JR, what are we doing first?
So we wanted to go ahead and start with the all-important announcement. Drum roll, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's right, FFG, Organized Play, has an announcement for you, Keyforge community.
I think this may be worse than nothing.
Tell us about it, for those that haven't read it.
It's called We Are Bored in Quarantine. And their OP announcement is, hey, tag us with some hashtag, FFG Play and Share, and then share a story, a picture, a video of playing an FFG game, and somehow they're going to run a metric on the number of times this hashtag is used, and at thresholds, it's going to release promos to us. That will be print and play for now, so that automatically makes it not very Keyforge related. And then, as they release prize kits in the future, they'll become real cards. So that is what it is, from what I can tell.
And my understanding is you're going to be sharing these photos, stories, or videos via Facebook or Twitter with that hashtag. So again, hashtag FFG Play and Share.
Yes. Which, if you're not, linked to them somehow, will they ever even see your post?
I'm not going to pretend to know how any of that works. That's not my wheelhouse. If Wookie was here, maybe he would know. I don't know.
Yeah, so I have a very typical me approach to FFG's OP, which isn't very positive, I know, folks. But here's my opinion of what's going on: is they're like, we have done all of this work making promos, we can't release them, so why don't we hold them hostage? So we'll say, hey, we made these promos, but only if you spend a bunch of time sharing that you're playing your games by yourselves at home, our stuff. We will release these promos, and if we show you a promo and you don't do enough work, we're going to kill it. Ha! That they're holding it hostage, right? This is a hostage situation.
I don't know if I go that dramatic, because I'm never that dramatic, but I do know that it's not like what any of the Keyforge players that I know are looking forward from FFG. But yeah, so... in the meantime, I don't think there's that much more to talk about that. There are other things starting out, so if you're tired of announcements from that OP, you could start participating in the KFPL stuff. They're trying to do some stuff. That event I mentioned last weekend got posted, I think Monday or something. The first thing for the KFPL New Age OP replacement is a $10 entry. So if you want to show FFG that there is events out there to be had, enter it. It's 2-deck survival. It's I think I said the time wrong last week on the show. It's, of course, if it was a number, I said it wrong, right? It's 11 a.m. Eastern Time, November 7th. So yeah, you want a replacement OP? Start signing up for those events, and the more people that show up, the more of those events the KFPL will start putting on.
So how bad is it going to be if we hashtag FFG Play and Share of screenshots of our KFPL games? And that's the stories we share.
You could, it said videos, right? You could start hashtagging videos on TCO of the KFPL League when you actually win cash, which no one that has played in an OP event has ever won cash to any amount. So that's something. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that we come across as, again, the downers, but the end result is there are a lot of great people in the Keyforge community, and we love you and appreciate you. So thank you again, all content creators. And instead of really pushing this on OP, I know you're in a tough spot. We're looking for more, so I'm just going to say positive. Let's go ahead and show how amazing Keyforge is by participating in KFPL. And we just saw Glorious You that popped with basically just shy of 100 people who showed up, and these are top competitive decks. I know this morning we were kind of joking around about like what promos would Keyforge actually get because of the nature of Keyforge. But we can definitely show that as a community, we are rocking this and we're keeping this game not only going, but I love the camaraderie that I see from the Keyforge group and just the interest in a competitive nature still out there and still pushing. So thank you.
Yeah, and it's that interest that will actually show. I mean, like if FFG is ever going to really go online and, create a market through that digital platform that we all want, we got to show them that there's money in it. So if people are starting to invest in the KFPL, like Glorious, you got the 92 members or whatever, but it was free, right? Like that means nothing to FFG. Like that won't register to them at all. But if 100 people showed up to an event online that they paid to get into, that will be something that they would have to start to recognize as an avenue. But right now, most of the events that are hitting big numbers, like even the KFPL, like, yeah, I think they got 70 in all the qualifiers we ran to enter the league. But again, all of those are free. So it's really easy to get people to show up to free activities, right? Like it doesn't cost them anything. So from a business standpoint, that doesn't register. So the more like the goal of the KFPL is to start to grow an OP since we don't have one. So the bigger it grows, like as far as that aspect goes, the maybe more attention we'll get as far as actually seeing more stuff come up from the OP side, the official OP side of the game. So we'll see.
And Z, you may know this, but just so we're super transparent, KFPL, the money from that tournament is being turned back to the players.
Yeah, like
correct?
so season 1, a lot of people donated to the league to make that happen. So the monthly tournaments, which there will be more if there's more interest, 80% of all the funds taken in are immediately distributed as prizing to the top 8. On top of that, Luxury Playstyle is going to give a random entry per entered person $55 worth of Dark Amber tokens, so that was cool. But the other 20% is going to be collected for prizing for season 2 of the league, so that we're not all like the people that have donated the most money are all council members on the KFPL. We are going to continue contributing our own money, but most of the council is not independently wealthy. I'm not going to say none of us are, because one of them is. So that way it can be somewhat self-sustaining. And again, the whole idea is to create this online OP type thing to eventually say, like, FFG kind of has to pay attention that this is a thing. It is liquid. Like, there's got to be something there eventually. And that's the goal. And, like, to continue to have Keyforge thriving and promoting. And a lot of people are starting to talk about, like, even this one, like, I think we have like 5 or 6 signed up. It's only been posted for like 5 or 6 days. I'm expecting somewhere between 40 and 50 by the time the event comes around, which should end up being like $100 to the winner. And I don't know what the percentage breakdown for the rest of the top 8, but I mean that should be something exciting to play for and gives you a chance to use your MM decks. But the event style will be different every month. So.
Yeah, and I know that your piece, you wanted to see MM shine because of kind of where the pandemic is. I know that FFG, we are in a pandemic, so we're all trying to do the best we can. Mm-hmm. I do want to go ahead and reach out because we dog you enough, but I heard something that was really cool, and that was in regards to the Glorious You. While the top 16 kind of played in what should have been last weekend, I believe, or was that a couple weekends ago? Yeah. I believe that there was an employee deck from FFG that was actually is basically given to the Sanctimonious group, and that was given as whoever placed 17th, and there was another deck for 18th.
Yep.
So if that is true, which I have no reason not to believe, that's the sort of appreciation that I really want to send. Thank you. FFG, printing an extra deck, making it something special as an employee deck. There are too many of those. That's a great way to be able to attract more people to some of these tournaments. So awesome job on that. I do want to go ahead and say
that was really cool. The Glorious You, it finished up. I think I don't even know how to say the online name. Echo Ito ended up winning on Sunday. It was on Sunday. I won my first and then lost the other two. I just took something for fun. But yeah, it was a well done event. I thought the drafting was a little weird as far as how you got your, and I was wrong. My prediction, the person who was going to win the whole event did not win. Dave did not win. So yeah. I don't even remember exactly what Echo Ito was playing, but I think it was Star Alliance Dis. Logos, because it had the triple Logica. And that was really fun to see play. It's super fast. I mean, like, speed is always speed. It doesn't matter what set you're coming from. If you can generate a ton of amber really fast, you can win games.
And not only that, but also having the cyber clone. There was actually a really nice podcast, Sanctimonious, to plug them, that Echo Ito actually goes through that deck. So definitely check out. We got to support each other. Yeah. But you can hear more about that deck and kind of how he ran it and what he was looking at. But the idea of Lethalogica with Cyberclone to cycle back can be huge, especially when you're facing... It just has so much versatility. And I think that's what's important when you're playing a large tournament or you're facing decks that vary in their style of play. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that I came in on Galaxy. Obviously I wasn't able to play that in the top 16, but that deck had a chance against Galaxy, and there aren't a lot of decks that actually do have that great of a chance. And that one would have. It was a legit deck. I think it would have made it had he played it on day one. I don't know if he did play it on day one. I don't know.
He did, actually. Yeah, he was one of the people who drafted the same deck that he brought in for the qualifier.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Okay, so last word on organized play. I do think it's great that FFG is doing something. I think this actually in a non-pandemic place where community building and showing their games and giving some value out of doing that makes sense. And it definitely makes more sense for the other games. I think from a very Keyforge-centric, this particular OP approach doesn't really work for us, as you don't play Keyforge by yourself. Most of the other FFG games actually do play solo very well. So
yeah, most FFG games have a strong solo variant, for sure.
So I see this working better for their other games. So I'm down on it, but I'm coming from purely a Keyforge perspective. And I'm looking for a reason to play Keyforge from FFG, and this is not it.
Yeah, and like further on what the promo side of things, like promos in most other games, almost every other FFG game that I own would be really cool and have some value to me. Very little in that vein applies to the OP Keyforge community. And now
your play map.
Yeah.
Well, I give them credit. They had the leaderboards, which was a great idea. I thought that was well fleshed out. However, our local store sheep didn't go ahead and get, even though we had signed up, you could see that it was being tracked. We still haven't gotten decks for the first or second or third. That really hurts when you're coming from a player's standpoint of, hey, I want to play. This is a great idea. And then it's like, well, there's no follow through.
That was the store, though. I don't think that was FFG's fault fully there because, the other store that I work with, we had no problem getting decks. I think it's just that store was not very good at running OP. Thanks for trying, but they weren't stellar at running OP events. So,
fair enough.
Because they ran the Prime and that stuff showed up like a day before the event and
fair enough.
But yeah, it'd be nice to see a reason to play Keyforge from Fantasy Flight OP. So still looking forward to that. Although supposedly kits come out next month. New kits maybe.
That'd be awesome.
Or at least availability of old kits. Something. All right, well we're going to continue on, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Just based on time, we're going to go ahead and jump into Saurian. So we have 3 houses that are left. We figured we'd do Saurian this week and then save our final 2 of Star Alliance and Sanctum for next week.
Yep. All right. Kick us off, Dan, since you might need to bail here in a minute. What is one of your top Saurian cards from the set? Remember, it has to be an MM-only card. even if it's a good card coming forward.
And basically good on its own. So I think my favorite card, best card in here, is Amphora Captura. Even without the effect of changing bonus icons into capture, just that card handing out 6 good bonus icons is really good. But this is a card, Amphora Captura. It's an artifact item. It enhances your deck with 2 Amber pips, 2 damage pips, and 2 draw pips. And while it's in play, when resolving bonus icons, you may choose to resolve it as a capture bonus icon instead. So all 6 of those could be captures if they come out in the right order. Right there is great spot Amber control. 2 draw, 2 Amber is really good on its own, right? Added to random cards in your deck. It's just a very solid card. And there are some decks with double Amphora. I've not been blessed to own one of them. That seems like just that number of icons should be real good. And then this has a ton of combo potential.
Yeah.
But just on its own, it gives 6 good enhances and then makes your enhance. And once this card's in play, it's not just those enhances, but it's just stock Amber pips on other cards also could become capture. So it just gives you a lot of flexibility in spot Amber control, which is very nice.
I 100% agree that if I just had a card that said I play this card, 2 damage, 2 capture, 2 Amber, or 2 draw, right? Yeah, that's all. Oh no, not capture. So if it just said 2 draw, 2 damage, 2 Amber, that would still be one of the best cards printed. Like, it's just that good. Like, that's value through and through, because that's basically what was the Sanctum card that you gained an Amber and capture to back in the day? Oh dang, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it's basically that card combined with like
take hostages.
Yeah, no, take hostages is when you have to fight. God dang it.
God, we're bad today.
We'll look it up. You'll be fine.
We're rough today, yeah. But it's basically that card plus like a festering touch. Or God, we are bad today, real bad. Not fest. Yeah, I was right. Festering touch, all in one card. It's 2 cards in one at minimum. Assuming it didn't even have the effect that it has. Its effect that it has tons of value without combo potential. You bring in combo potential, which we're not really identifying in this set, and the card's value skyrockets. But even without that, like, effect per card played is through the roof.
You're talking terms of redress?
Terms of redress, yeah. It's basically a festering touch plus terms of redress all in one card. And the draw. And what? Time Traveler? Like, it's all in one card. It's all there.
Terms of
actually
redress. Go ahead.
Like this over some of the other cards that hand out a bunch of pips is that it's an artifact. Mm-hmm. So it's not a stupid infomorph or a stupid pixie whatever that is a arguably drunk creature that you don't want in your hand. Once you play this, it's often sticky to the board and you don't have to cycle back through it.
Well, and it has that static effect, so it's not a good card.
But just even if it didn't have the static effect, it was just an artifact that added a bunch of enhances and did nothing else, I'd be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, because it also takes it out of the cycle. If you have a deck that can flip, your turnaround of that deck is even better. Like, it's a great card.
Which I am seeing with MM. Quite a few of the decks are going ahead and being able to flip. In case anyone is unfamiliar with terms of redress, Coda card with action Sanctum. It has an Amber pip, and then it says play, choose a friendly creature to capture 2, and it's an action card. So very, very, very solid card there. I think Capture Amphora by itself is phenomenal, and it has quite a bit of combo pieces. We've kind of talked about that, so I agree 100%. Z, you want to go next, or you want me to?
You can go next, because I think I'll take the last one.
All right. For me, it definitely falls as Faust. So Faust the Great as a card, I just really, really have been enjoying, and I think that it has so much. So let's go through it. Faust is a Saurian creature, 4 power, 0 armor, dinosaur. Your opponent's keys cost +1 for each friendly creature with Amber on it, and then in immediate play, you may exalt a friendly creature. So with the playability as a choice, you have flexibility there. So if you need to, be able to keep someone off by 1, there's an immediate ability to do that. with what I am seeing from all of the capture from Sanctum and Saurian, I know we're not talking combo, but the ability for this card to really go off and put key cost much, much higher is definitely there. So by itself, create little, ability to increase key costs, but with the larger game around, it also just goes up from there.
I'm a huge fan. I really love the Rudder Gallum from set 3 with Worlds Collide there. It came in. Those key taxing type things are huge in the meta. They're actually one of the things that allow you to be more competitive against Coda Rush, because Coda Rush is really good at hitting 18 and being done with the key cheats and just the way they work. You start making all their keys cost more, they start losing games. And Faust is great at doing just that. Better than Redder, because even though Redder hit on play, to use him again, he was that 3-power creature. You had to Reap Exalt, Fight Exalt, whatever. Faust doesn't have to do that. Technically, he doesn't even have to exhaust when he comes in himself. That's an optional effect, which is great because there's a lot of things that force you to do what you have to do. So often he can create game states that make it really hard for some of the earlier meta champions to do really well. Like, I actually dropped a game while playing with Pink Fraud, famous deck, right? Against someone that just had a really good board warded up with double Faust. I was like, I can't force 3 keys at 10 each. It doesn't work that way. And I wasn't able to. I mean, I was able to eventually deal with one of them, but I wasn't able to handle the board consistently with the key cost being what it was. So yeah,
should we do Wookie's card since he's not here?
Yeah, Wookie's favorite card has got to be. I don't even know how to say this. How would you say this?
I would say Sagittarius Gaze. So this is a Sanctum action card with 1 printed amber. That's about the only piece that's good on this card. So it is an action with an enhanced damage icon, and it says play Exalt a damaged creature. And Wookie loves this card because it's absolute trash.
Yes, this would have to be Wookie's favorite card.
As a common, Sheep was talking earlier about having 3 of them in a deck. It just really destroys some of the decks and what they're able to do. Even with that enhanced icon, it's bad. It's straight up bad.
I don't even know if I would like it if the enhance was like 3 damage pips. Like, there would have to be so many more enhancements on this card for me to like it. It's just a bad card. I don't know. Yeah,
it's situational in that it's an exalted damaged creature.
Yeah,
you're not getting an immediate effect out of it because you still have to kill said creature, but you don't have it. The 1 damage pip, honestly, in MM, we're not seeing as much warding. There's some, but not nearly enough. So 1 single damage pip really doesn't cut it, and especially with what we see for some of the armor that exists, it just doesn't even go through on a number of these creatures. So, again, the highlight is the amber pip that you're getting for playing it, but oftentimes, it's a forced ability too. Exalt a damaged creature. Mm-hmm. So if one of your creatures is damaged, but your opponent has no creature or has nothing, this is
possibly a discard. Yeah, you might be discarding it. Like, yes, you gain an amber, but do you really want more amber on your own dudes? There's no Tribune in this set. There's no Primus. Like, it's putting amber on your own dudes is not going to be of value to you in MM. So it's rough. There's no ideal. There's the bad tricks, not the good tricks. Like, it's not good. Anyhow,
all right, enough on Wookie's card. Let's go on to what are you enjoying there, Z?
I have a couple decks that take advantage of this card. It's super skill testing, but after having a lot of experience with it, I think it actually is one of the better cards in set. 1, because of its uniquity, and 2, because of its actual effect. And I'll read the card off. It's Curious Saurus. It's an artifact. Location. The text is weird. It says, each creature with amber on it gains, when destroyed, destroyed effect bolded. Move 1 amber from this creature to the most powerful enemy creature. I'm a real big fan of playing decks that make the game, like the whole game state, a little bit more complex. Minus Heart. Heart's trash. Y'all all know I hate Heart. Curiosaurus, like, it creates these situations where you really have to think through the micro decisions of your creature line, which creature's the most powerful, who am I capturing Amber on, can I minimize my battle line to the point where I have no creatures versus them, do I have a board wipe that can send Amber across the field simultaneously both ways. It creates a lot of decisions. The better you get at making those decisions, the more often you play this. I kind of said this last week with Autoencoder. It's like one of those very skill testing cards where there's a lot of like talk about luck versus skill in Keyforge, but there are certain cards, certain types of decks that with practice you can legitimately get better at playing in that scenario to a point where you do have an advantage versus your opponent. I was a big fan of Quixelstone decks. That comes into play there. Curiosaurus almost creates that same level of complexity, whereas the more you practice, the more experience you have, you will be at a noticeable disadvantage versus your opponent just by understanding exactly what's going on inside the 35-minute competitive window that you have. And then that's where I land on this. At first, I was like, I need to test this. I need to play with this. I need to see exactly what this is going. But after playing a sizable amount of games, a couple of them with double Curia decks, it matters. Playing under Curia versus not, you really do start to see a difference of like your win rate versus your opponent, just due to the understanding of how that card works.
Yeah, I would definitely second what you were saying in that it's a skill testing card and that knowledge of the card helps you. It is not a card that you always want to play. I actually had a game yesterday that went off, and the new deck that I'm playing, having fun with, trying to get some, quite a bit of repetitions with. I faced Curiosaurus, but with my ability to capture, Curia actually hurt it. And so knowing when to be able to toss it was interesting looking at DOK. The win percentage rate for this card is 48.2%. So it is lower than, many other cards, but I would argue that's not necessarily the card's fault. That's more on player skill and understanding that it's not the right card to play with every single deck and all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things, there's a lot of balancing as far as between your battle line, your creature sizes, not just how much you capture, can you actually capture across your board, or is all your capture going to your biggest creature? There's a lot to be considered as far as what is going on with how that card is working. And if you're not fully aware, you could easily be handing the card the advantage of the card to your opponent. Does your opponent have 2 Bring Lows? If they do, probably shouldn't be playing Curia against them, because that's one of the best cards they can have. Do they have City State? Do they have Spoils of Battle? There's a bunch of cards that, when Curia's in play, go bonkers. And if they have them and you don't, you're probably going to be the one at a disadvantage. So that's definitely a lot of stuff to consider when you're playing that. And of course, but in general, there's very hard, to get an deck that can't take advantage of it in some way. And there are tons of decks outside of that just don't capture at all. And that's where you'll have a lot of the advantages going. Offset Curia in most cases will be advantaged against offset upper level play. I mean, there are some Sanctum upper level decks out there from Coda, but not many. But Sanctum Coda was one of the few that captured heavily, at least in a way that they could take advantage of Curia, because it has to be, they capture a lot, but one at a time, right?
Z, do you have any experience with Curia versus AOA? With some of the, because Sanctum there did capture quite a bit more. I know that,
but it was usually in triplicate, right?
Correct. And that causes issues. So
a lot of the value in that is lessened. That's what I mean. Like Sanctum in Coda could capture 1s. Terms of Redress was 2. Take hostages, everyone gets to capture 1. It's exactly what you would want, but then there's just not that many of those that you're going to see in I saw none of that in the Glorious U, because you just don't see that many Sanctum decks coming out of Coda compete at high levels. You just don't. And then generally when you do see Sanctum AOA, you see Proc, you see Lion. They'll have some Obeyeds, but again, Obeyed is not, that doesn't matter, because they're already capturing in triplicate. It's really the stuff that they would be able to capture I mean, the biggest things that thrive off of Curia are all from MM.
Yeah, no.
I guess Pandemonium would be a big one. And that was in Coda from Dis.
Yeah, Pandemonium takes a bit for setup too, and kind of looking at it.
Yeah,
it was interesting. I mean, these cards, we were all in agreement. She, Z, and I, we could see this ahead of time. We threw in the fake piece for Wookiee there. There are some other fun cards that I have really gone ahead and enjoyed, and I'll just go ahead and name them just based on their impact on the MM and kind of what's happening. One of those is being Neurotosaurus. So 6-power creature, dinosaur politician, fight, enemy creatures cannot reap during your opponent's next turn. And then reap ability, enemy creatures cannot fight during your opponent's next turn. That has created some interesting situations. But in the rare spot, I'm just not seeing a ton of it when I'm playing online.
I've literally never played against it. It's a great card, but it's just one of those I've never seen.
It's a rare, and so you need too many other cards in order to make it really function. The other two that really are pretty interesting to me and to kind of see, I can go ahead and...
I have seen these two.
Yeah, Skilla, I think that's right. Skilla, the 7-power beast creature from Saurian. Each enemy creature gains reap, deal 4 damage to this creature. Mm-hmm. And the partner, or kind of the other side, which is Charbrus, which is a 7-power beast creature in Saurian. Each enemy creature gains before fight, lose 1. These have had an impact. Again, they're linked rarity, but they really do. We were talking earlier about how different cards warp your thinking. With Curiosaurus, it's interesting seeing these guys out because they're not necessarily the easiest beasts or creatures to take care of.
Yeah, they're big. Don't have a direct I think there's 7s, right?
Well, one's a 7, and the other one, they're both 7s. But, they have constant abilities that are definitely present. So I like that thought process from our developers. And so I would love to see more of that coming into future sets is, constant abilities, how they impact. These do impact the game because they stick around longer than just a simple, creature that's out there most of the time.
It didn't make your list, but speaking of that, I wouldn't put this card in the top cards that we just mentioned. But as far as game warping, though, something that I've seen quite often on the Crucible playing around that does affect me is Senator Quintina, 5-power creature. After a creature reaps, exalt it. That's a pretty frustrating creature. It's another 5-power dude that you don't want to be putting Amber on your dude, your guys the entire time. So that's one of those. I have another 5-power body that I have to deal with, or I have to potentially give my opponent a ton of Amber because I'm just exalting for no reason at all. And it's interesting. Of course, that's two-sided though, because it affects them too. So it's hard to find decks that can truly take advantage of that. But hence it'd be more of a combo card, and definitely wouldn't make our list today. But that's another of those game warping creature bodies that you just kind of have to pay a lot of attention to because they affect everything you're about to do.
And the last card I'm going to throw out is not game warping. It's not there, but it honestly has surprised me as just a fun creature to play, and that's Gladiodontus. So that 15-power immune. I know it's silly, but Gladiodontus enters play stunned. Gladiodontus only deals 5 when fighting. Fight Reap, if this is the first time Gladiodontus has been used this turn, ready and enrage it. The ability to double use Gladiodontus and the 15 power that it sticks around for a bit really does allow that stun to be removed and then for you to use it again, which is great. I've had some fun with being able to also pull it back with Blast from the Past, to deal 15 damage. Yeah, so again, kind of more fun than anything, and that's not what we're talking about. But I want to throw it out in case you're looking for something fun to be able to go out. It definitely has risen in my interest, just as fun as I've gone ahead and played some of these MM decks.
And great art for what it's worth.
Yeah.
That one has really good art. I can see that being an action figure or something. But I think that's it. So to recap, FFG Organized Play is really promoting their board games. Keyforge is not really a board game, so we didn't get a lot of love there. But hey, as we mentioned earlier in the cast, KFPL is putting on the monthly events. Come out, show your support, play in some organized play of our own, and make FFG pay attention. Glorious U was great. Everything went well there. Super excited about the next one they marionette. I'm not sure what they're planning next, but I will be pumped to be on board again. And we went over some Saurian cards. Got any final words, JR?
I know that Wisconsin's being hit pretty hard with the pandemic, so stay safe, make some good choices. If you are not in that situation, go out, play some Keyforge. And if you can't, then stay inside. I appreciate all of the content developers, and I appreciate the ability to still play in TCO. So, let's keep this game going. And we have an amazing community. I can't say that enough. So, great job, everyone.
All right, that's a wrap. See you all next week. Peace.
Can I say I'm just a sucker for pain? They looking at me like I'm fucking insane. Cause me and you ain't ever one and the same. Like a cut to the vein till you see that blood on the blade. I'm a sicko rap schizo, killing these instrumentals. The illest kid with a pencil make titties swing like a breaststroke. Beast mode like playing your PS3 with a cheat code. Or opening that door when you saw that the sign said keep closed. That sorta ish. Morbid, I'm shitting on them like porcelain. Torturous, they looking for me, find me where the fortune is. Contortionist, drinking 40s and Morgans. I'm a sorcerer. They told me life's a bitch, so I fucked it till I got bored of her. It's Mercules.